Hey, how are you doing? I hope keeping well and safe. This is Paula here with some announcements. I'm going to take a bit of time off in the first half of August, and I might not always have internet access. There will still be posts and releases on the Audiovisual Cultures feeds, which will be pre-scheduled. I'm going to release a spare episode that I recorded last September and haven't needed because I've had such awesome guests on this year, don't you think? And then I'm going to re-release a recovered episode from 3 years ago, recorded at the Edinburgh Fringe. So just before the end of last year, Patreon and Acast announced a partnership, and so I've had hosting through them for a while, and not all of the episodes got scraped in that, and a few of them, strangely ones in the 30s mostly, were left out of that scraping. I've been holding some of them back for these sorts of situations. So we're approaching episode 100, can you believe that? And if you have suggestions at all, if you'd like to see a live recording, a live thing is something I'm quite keen on doing again or trying again, especially now I've got a shiny new mic to show off. If you want to hear about a particular topic, I'd really love you to get in touch. I really don't want you to be behind the door. Like I really want listeners to really get engaged in this podcast and feel like you have some ownership over this show as well. I do try to respond to suggestions for episodes as much as I can. Where I've had suggestions and I haven't done that, it's just because I haven't been able to get a hold of the film I've been asked to talk about or something along those lines, but I'm really quite keen to do what I can. So if you want to get in touch, we are AV Cultures Pod on all the socials and audiovisualcultures@gmail.com on email. As ever, a massive thank you to our supporters at patreon.com/AV Cultures, and to those of you who have given something over at buymeacoffee.com/PEA Blair. I'm thinking through the most appropriate funding goals at the minute because I got a bit blindsided, as I say, by the Patreon Acast merger, because that was the first thing I was trying to save up for was hosting, and now I've basically got hosting through that partnership. And then I used my self-employed grant to get a new microphone. And I think getting a whole new computer, which I probably very much need, is a very long way off. And it's going to be a long time to be able to actually build the money up for that. But I'm trying to think through what's the next achievable funding goal. So it might be a Zoom Pro account, but I don't know about that because no matter how good your microphone is, Zoom distorts the audio in some way. So I'm not too sure about that. The bonus of that is that you can get the transcription service. So I don't know whether to maybe just get a transcription service separately and to try to make the podcast really accessible. The issue with that is it's incredibly time consuming to go through the transcription and tidy that up, especially with what it can do to an Ulster accent, for example. But YouTube have made it easier to add subtitles and to edit them with the video, so maybe it's worth it. Maybe it's worth just taking that extra bit of time. I don't really know. So what I'm saying is I really invite conversation about this sort of stuff. A reminder as well that I produce a free monthly newsletter about the podcast that you can sign up to on our homepage at audiovisualcultures.wordpress.com. I suppose that's another funding thing, is should I upgrade the website, but it seems fairly functional as it is. All I would really be paying for is to take the WordPress bit out, because I don't think I could stretch or justify stretching to a business account where it would give me somewhere to upload the whole podcast as well. I don't really know about doing that. That's another thing to think about. But anyway, for the sign up, it only asks for your email. I do not want to harvest your data. I do not want to have your data. I do not want other companies to have your data. This is all stuff I feel very strongly about. I've also taken ads off my blog over at peiblair.blogspot.com because I learned more about what Google's doing with people's information when they look at ads, so I've just taken them off. I'd rather try to get support from people who want to support me, and the ads weren't making any money anyway. I don't want any of that, so it's just an email sign up. But you just give your email address, you don't even give your name or anything, and of course it's easy to just opt out if you unsubscribe at the bottom of the email. The newsletter is sent on the last day of the month, and it contains a roundup of that month, plus other useful links, exclusive discount codes, and a podcast recommendation. It's a good way to be in direct touch with the podcast. I'm always really open to suggestions here and to include your recommendations for what you're listening to. If there's a YouTube channel you're into, I'm happy to link to that. If you send me a link and a couple of lines about that would be great. I'll also send a notification, a very brief notification with links to the new episodes on the day they release. All there's left to say is just thank you so much for listening. There's loads of great stuff to come, so do stay tuned. Please tell a friend about the podcast. Please give it a nice rating on your podcast app. It'll be a massive help. And please, above all, keep well and be excellent to yourselves and each other.